The variety of plants found on Earth is vast. From towering redwoods to blades of grass, there is one commonality that ties all plants together. Like every other living organism, the basic building blocks of plants is the cell. But to call a cell a mere building block simply doesn't do it justice. Not just an inanimate object that creates a structure, a cell is much more. It's virtually a self-contained factory, buzzing with activity and life. With specialized organelles doing specific jobs, the accomplishments of a cell are really quite impressive. In this lesson, we're going to zoom in on a plant cell and gain an understanding of the parts that make it work. As previously mentioned, a plant cell is a self-contained unit. It's surrounded by not one, but two enclosures. The outermost layer is called the cell wall and is unique to plant cells. Like an actual wall, this layer is fairly rigid. Composed of strong fibers made of cellulose, the cell wall layer is relatively thick and gives plants their firm structure as well as protection. Inside the cell wall is the second cover, the cell membrane. Thin and flexible, it keeps the contents of the cell intact, much like a balloon holding water. This sac-like covering is semi-permeable, meaning select particles can move through the membrane. Now we'll take a look at the parts of the cell located inside the cell membrane, which are known as organelles. Similar to the organs inside our bodies, each cell organelle has a specific job that contributes to the overall function of the cell. Remembering our factory analogy, we will look at each organelle. In the center of the plant cell within its own membrane lies the nucleus. The nucleus is like the command center of the factory. Vital genetic instructions for the cell are found here in the form of DNA. These instructions will be transported and read by organelles known as ribosomes. Ribosomes are the producers of our factory-like cell. They're responsible for making protein, which are a crucial part of every living thing. The genetic instructions laid out by the DNA are brought to the ribosomes by the traveling messenger of our factory, which is a molecule known as mRNA. Ribosomes read the instructions and then link together amino acids in the right order to assemble protein. Although many ribosomes are found floating freely in the cell, many are attached to an organelle called the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short. The endoplasmic reticulum comes in two forms, rough and smooth. The rough version is that which is studded with ribosomes, making it bumpy. The ER is essentially a labyrinth made out of a membrane folded on top of itself many times. Its job within the factory is to collect protein that have been synthesized by the ribosome. The ER puts these proteins into tiny packages called vesicles, and then sends them off to its working partner, the Golgi apparatus. Many important processes occur within the Golgi apparatus. This is a warehouse of sorts, where newly arriving vesicles are sorted, modified, and shipped out to various locations. Similar to the ER, the Golgi is made up of a series of membranes stacked together, much like a pancake stack. There are two distinct sides to the Golgi. The side that receives vesicles is known as the cis side. The side that ships out is the trans side, which you can remember by thinking of the vesicles being transferred. As each vesicle makes its way from the cis to the trans side of the Golgi, it is modified and made into a finished product specific for where it is headed. Like a suitcase is tagged for a destination, the vesicles are now marked for their future location within the cell before they are dispatched. Now let's look at our power source for the cell. Mitochondria are organelles that create usable energy for cells. Through a process called cellular respiration, mitochondria take energy from food sources and convert it into forms that the cell can use. This keeps our tiny factory running. And filling in the gaps amidst these organelles and activities is a jelly-like substance called cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the medium that holds organelles and provides a filler for the cell. We have already established that the cell wall is found only in plant cells. In addition, we find unique structures called chloroplasts. Not found in animal cells, chloroplasts have the ability to trap and harness energy from the sun. Using this energy, plants are able to make their own food in the form of sugar through the process of photosynthesis. Also unique to the plant cell, we find a large central storage area called a vacuole. This would perhaps be the storage closet of the factory. Surrounded by its own membrane, the vacuole is filled with water, which contains nutrients, digestive enzymes, and other molecules. The vacuole also serves as a disposal site for waste. Let's take a few moments to recap what we've learned about the parts of a plant cell. A plant cell is made up of many different parts that each have specific functions. It's surrounded by a cell wall, which is relatively thick and gives plants their firm structure as well as protection, and cell membrane, which is thin and flexible and keeps the contents of the cell intact, much like a balloon holding water. Inside the cell, we find a nucleus, or the command center of the cell, and many organelles, which are the parts of the cell located inside the cell membrane. Ribosomes make protein. The endoplasmic reticulum packages and moves them, and the Golgi apparatus modifies and sends them on. Chloroplasts, unique to plants, capture energy from the sun and make food. Mitochondria convert food into usable energy. In addition, a large storage vacuole is found in the center of the cell and filled with water, which contains nutrients, digestive enzymes, and other molecules. And finally, cytoplasm fills in the gaps with the medium that holds organelles and provides a filler for the cell.